minutes late on the broadcast this morning. Today is the 21-day Go for No Sales Challenge wrap up. We're kind of in the back, hoping more people, but all depending on who's coming where. But for today, 21-day Go for No Sales Challenge.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
Okay, so Lisa, you lost. We were on we got Daman who won this morning, then Jeff who jumped in, and then Lisa, who's actually on the show, decided to say hello as well. So Lisa, does Lisa actually win because she's on the show? Because she's already here and she said good morning before we started. I don't know how that works, but good morning, Daman. Good morning, Jeff. And thank you so much for that amazing post, brother. Thank you.
Yes.
He says Lisa beat me big time. So, gents, hope we got Chad down below here. Chad's just about to jump in here. So Chad's on his walk this morning. Now, beautiful, nice. Look at that. You'd almost think both of you are in a different area. Lisa's got darkness and Chad's got kind of light going on. So the 21-day Go for No Sales Challenge. So, Andrea, obviously every one of you were on the call 21 days ago when we said, hey, you know what? There's a great challenge. Let's do it. Why not? And we had so many people jump in, which is truly a very humbling and mind-blowing experience as we were on the show doing it. I thought it was really, really, really cool. And then we all jumped into it. And so today is kind of the results, what we learned, what we like. And I know, Andrea, you have a couple of questions for everybody. And then at the end, I'd like you to explain kind of when your next one is, if anybody that missed this one would like to jump in.
Yes, here's what's interesting. Okay. Like, here's what really happened. Let's really share the truth so that we can
Sure.
identify the people that really, this challenge, it always sounds good. It's like a diet. It's like when you're ready, you go like, I don't need alcohol or pizza for 21 days. It's fine. I can handle it. And then, a couple days in, you go like, wow, that was a tough commitment I just made. Maybe it would be better to start this next week, next month. So a lot of people were in. A lot of people kind of said, oh yeah, sign me up. And then a few of them dropped out. I know things happen. I'm not trying to be mean here. However, it is really hard to get to the finish line with this thing. I have seen it over and over again. I do challenges. I have a lot more people who sign up, and then I have a couple drop out by the time we show up for the introduction call. A couple people drop out for day 1 call, day 8 call, 15. And then by the end, it's usually a pretty small handful of people who stick it out because it requires, there are a couple big roadblocks. There's the commitment is huge, the habit. And I'll tell you what I think the big one is. And then we can talk. I want to ask some questions. The big one is, I think there's this idea that if I have such high expectations for myself here. And if I don't meet those expectations, if something goes wrong, if I have a couple days that aren't perfect, then like that diet, like if I have one pizza in the middle where I'm not, where I said I wasn't going to have any carbs, then you just go like, forget it, and you just say, forget it. And so perfectionism, because who ends up really getting attracted to the Go for No challenge? Who wants to do it in the first place? I'll tell you who. It's high achievers. It's people who want results. And which is great, but the Achilles heel to that is that if they don't meet their ridiculously high expectations, which are always up here, then oftentimes they won't finish because they're like, no, it has to be perfect. I've got to go hard every day. I've got to get no's every day. And so I appreciate that people were so into it when we were on the show because everybody wants to do it, but it is really hard to finish. And some of that is not as what you would think of self-imposed limitations around fear, although fear and anxiety and the fear of no can come up. But I think a lot of it is those high expectations. And I think sometimes that can sabotage us. So that's the truth I wanted to lay out to kick things off.
And I think that's the truth in most cases.
Yeah.
Right. We've DJ and I've talked about this numerous times. And I think we even talked about it when you were first on the show, Andrea, the shelf help, the self-help, the programs, how many programs get purchased. And I mean, full transparency. Andrea was kind enough when we jumped in the challenge to give us the 21-day go for no, or the go for no sales course. I haven't even touched that sales course. And I'm like, Joe, wake up every morning and educate myself. It's just, I put things in order. So I plan on doing the course. Probably by the beginning of the month, I'll start the course. So I'm really looking forward to it. But I also know that jumping around never gets us anywhere. Like you start something, you finish it, you work through all of the strategies and all of the things that are put into place by the people that create these courses, and then you jump to another one. Because I've done enough training in my life to realize if you do 5% here, 10% here, 5% here, for me anyways, I start getting confused, and I'm like, I start taking half of this strategy and half of this strategy, and I'm going, well, why doesn't that work? Because you're not implementing the full strategy over here, and then kind of what works, what doesn't, what fits into your daily schedule. You put those pieces of the puzzle in, and then you move forward to the next one. So full transparency over here for me is I have
You're
not
not
started
alone with
yet,
that,
but I am
Dan.
super excited. I'm super excited to. Well, I mean, there's a lot of things happening in the background here that will be coming to light shortly, but it's it's just, I really wish there was like 37 hours in a day instead of 24. Like I really do wish that. And I know some people are like, are you crazy? And I'm like, I wish I could take a pill where I never have to sleep again. Like I really do. And I know it sounds crazy. It's just, there's so much I want to do, and it just feels like there's so little time. And it's probably not the right formula for a non-burnout situation. But it's where I'm at. So, yeah.
Choosing that, right? The paradox of choice, and then for high achievers like you, Dan, you go like, well, I'm not going to choose. I'm going to do all of it.
And it's find the time. I mean, we just talked about it. I'm here on vacation every morning. I'm sitting here doing the show because I love the show, and I guess so. So here's kind of, and I'd love all of your thoughts on it. I haven't worked in probably the last 9 years. Like I just love what I do so much that it's not work, and I think it's tough for a lot of people to hear that. Like yes, I'm on a Caribbean island. But I would be happy sitting with my laptop working all day. Like it actually takes effort to not bring my book of scripts and continue to write, or to not bring this laptop or my phone or everything with me when I go and sit by the pool. Like it's actually effort. Whereas other people can't wait to get rid of it. It's like, these are tools to help my life and be able to do this. If I can come and work from a Caribbean island 6 weeks a year, I'm golden. Come on, man. Like who wouldn't want that just in general? But there's a difference between work and passion and love. And, for me, these are what these challenges hold, is how can I build more passion for what I do and get more done in a shorter period of time so I can do more. If you look at the productivity level, so I started studying, really studying CEOs over the last 2 months, like really studying just what they do, how they stay vital, how many calories they burn. And if y'all ever study CEOs, it would blow your mind how
many calories they burn. Sorry.
How many calories they burn? Yeah, because they're so mentally heavy. Like they fry through calories, Lisa. Like they're burning through 3,000-4,000 calories a day before they even work out. Like not including workouts. Like these people are go just to stay such high performing, right? It's like well, Andrea, you've been on stage. When you're on stage, you're frying through calories because you're on, and this is a CEO every single minute of every single day. Like Jack Welch was in his book, he was talking about, what it takes to perform at that high of level all the time. And it's like, you got to be on all the time. And I'm starting to study these people because I feel this is where my life's heading in a very short period of time. Within 5-6 months, I'm going to have to be on every second of every day. And there's going to be a lot of people counting on our head team being on. And it's a huge responsibility, and not to get corny, but with great power comes great responsibility. Good old Uncle, what was it? Spider-Man. I
Is
forget
that
his name.
Spider-Man? Is that
Uncle
Spider-Man?
Ben. Uncle Ben.
Uncle
Yeah,
Ben.
Spider-Man.
Yes, Uncle
But
Ben.
it's
There you go.
true. Like as you know, as corny as I just stole a Marvel saying, it's true that with this power. I mean, even and even with this show, like we have to be careful who we bring on because we don't want the wrong message being spread. And we're not a Joe Rogan podcast. We're nowhere even close to that. You know what I mean? But it's true. And I mean, this is where, even Joe Rogan with Spotify got in so much trouble because of the messages he was spreading. Because as people start listening to you, and Andrea, you're in this position, you and Richard, because you're on national stages all over the world preaching Go for No. If it's a message that's not going to help people, it's not good, but you can still get it out there. Damn right. And people will listen. And, and that's the responsibility I think that, you have as an international leader, as some of our good friends like Bob Berg has as an international leader, where these are messages. And so, sorry, I'm rambling because I don't even know what the point of my
I think it was because I think it was when I brought up high achievers and that you want to do it all.
Yes,
that's kind of what launched us off. Right. Yeah, that's what launched us off. But to focus us in, I will ask the question. So the main idea for anybody watching who didn't see the Go for No didn't see our show a few weeks ago, the Go for No challenge is very simple. It is how many no's can you get in 21 days? It's setting a no goal every day that you're basically going to be going for no and seeing if you can hit it. Yeah. So, and the tricky part is managing, again, expectations and figuring out what that sweet spot is of it, because remember, you're not setting a yes goal. You're not setting like, oh, I want to close 2 deals today. It's a very different thing. It's how many no's can I hear in my process? So it could be for prospecting. It could be following up on people who told you no in the past. It could be anything. And the whole idea is in that process of setting those no goals and going after those no's, you're going to get the yeses. Like yes is the destination, right? That is absolutely what we want. But we do it in this counterintuitive way. We don't let the yeses slow us down, which is typically what happens when you set that yes goal, right? You want to get that one yes, you get it. And then you're like, okay, I'm good. So I'm curious how it was operating with everybody, how it was trying to set those no goals. How hard was it? Just speak to the setting of no goals and the going after those.
I love it.
Go for
DJ. Me,
Lisa.
Yeah,
Lisa
or go
Chad?
Lisa.
Well, just like the day that we decided to sign up, it sounded like a great idea. Yes, committed. Sounds right up my alley. I'm all for a competitive challenge. And then you get into it. I did all the activities. I printed out the sheets, the scorecards. They were on my desk. And then you just and it's a constant problem for me, but getting sucked back into ops or, oh, that one big fish, they're coming at us with loads, and then it's fulfill and make sure we do great and bring on this customer properly. So it's like, I did not do the tracking with the cards, or the sheets printed out. So it was a big challenge to actually go through the motions in that habit. And like Dan, I do plan and intend to read the material. It's just it wasn't the right timing for me right now, but I'm really excited to do it in the future.
What about you, DJ?
And I do like that you said that, Lisa, because I think that was probably in the beginning, and I'm glad you asked this question, Andrea, and I'm so glad that you did this with us. But I think in the beginning, yes, it was so hard because it was like, hold on, I'm trying to go for no, and like no knows. It seemed like at least the first couple of days, it was like no knows what's going on. But then like it was like I couldn't, adding that. It was that whale or adding, I think that first call we had, we talked about going for those big ones that we were working on, but it was adding those in when there was already like things that were in the bucket for me.
Pipeline.
And then obviously some other deals kind of fell through. And so I had to totally get sidetracked with these few deals that I'm working on. And yeah, it was a lot. The mind shift that it does, though, I will tell you that I started to get frustrated. Like, why is nobody saying no? Like almost like I'm waiting for somebody say no, please. Like I was like begging for somebody to say no at first, like wanting to hear it. But it was just, again, with the deals that I had going on, and I'm not just cold calling strangers every day with what I'm doing. So yeah, it was different. It was different. It was definitely it screwed with my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
I never thought I wanted to hear no, like until doing this, and then there's no, that first day you're looking and nobody you talk to, because just maybe your day was set up that way or whatever. But yeah, it was crazy. It was a mind shift for sure.
Well, and I want to hear from Chad and Dan if you have anything to add too. But I have an observation that I made about you guys, specifically about your industry, but I don't want to share it yet unless if Chad wants to add to this.
Yeah. In fact, I do. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. We can.
Hopefully I'm not too distracting out here bouncing around. And in fact, my arms are heavy because I feel like a mummy. I got my arm out here with my phone and my coffee in this arm. So I'm just kind of like walking like this.
Need a selfie stick.
I'm too tired. But yes. Kind of speak a little bit more to Lisa's point as and even Andrea, we set out to. We were excited to do this challenge. What would this challenge do for us? What kind of production would we see out of this? And long story short, I was like, there's not going to be a lot of value I'm going to add to this call today, because if I jump on the call, I won't be able to speak to the work that I had intended to do. And one of the biggest things I learned was my lack of commitment to this challenge in the beginning. I was excited to jump on and do this because what would this mean? And at the end of the day, we did not do the track, and we did not do the work that was necessary to pull this off. And I want to speak more to the lack of commitment, but being aware of that, and not bringing any excuses into this. It's just simply jumping into something that I was excited for and being more excited about it than committed to it. That being said, I'm going to do this again if you'll have me jump back into it. But I just wanted to jump on and say I had no excuses on my lack of results on this.
But Chad, in the end, that right there, that realization, I think brought you to a new level. Because now you're going to, a lot of people will do things like this and then make excuses to why they didn't. And just even from that point of, listen, I came into it excited, didn't quite do what I wanted to do. I'm going to do it again. Your dedication on the next round will be unstoppable.
And they
right?
absolutely,
yes.
and they don't show up. And so showing up when you don't feel like you did the work. It's like going to school without your homework, right? You go like, I really would just love to skip class. I don't have my homework to show. And you show up anyway, and you go like, okay, here it is. This is where I'm at. But here's kind of what I saw with you guys. And I don't know if this is industry specific necessarily. I don't think so. But one of the things that sometimes happens is, especially when you are for solo practitioners and you're not just sales and then you get to dump it on to someone else who manages the account or somebody else. There's a pressure, and I don't want to call it fear of success, because I actually don't necessarily believe in fear of success, because ultimately fear of success comes back to fear of failure. But I think it's fear of handling the business. And so, like Lisa said, I would get sucked back into ops, because what happens is you say to yourself, we've got this business now that I don't want to lose. So sometimes it's kind of a play, not play to win necessarily. It's just playing not to lose. So you say, I don't want to lose what I have. So let's make sure that we get sucked into that operation, then that delivery mode, and that making sure that we're managing the accounts. And we know that sales solves all problems, right? Sales solves everything. And that if someone were to dump you know, a $20 million account on your desk, you'd figure it out. You'd even hire somebody extra to manage it. So we know that sales solves those problems.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know if it is fear of success, but Dan, maybe you could add to what you think I'm kind of describing that was going on here.
No, you're pretty bang on. I believe internally, a lot of salespeople, when they don't have time or their ops team isn't up to speed, there's a fear of spending so much time, effort, and energy on an account and losing it. There is. I mean, you know, it's the reason why commission sales can be the most lucrative job, but it can be the most hell job on earth as well. You know, like it's just what it is. And I think there is an ingrained fear, because we've all been there. I think as salespeople, we've all been there. We've all landed accounts and we've lost them in 2 days because, you know, I remember one vividly, Univar. I worked for months to get Univar, and I landed them. And the carrier that we had originally from day one had set on the account just lost their customer going down to where we were going. So we had to scramble. We scrambled, and it's like we talked about many times on this show. We found a supplier, and I'm like, oh, it just doesn't feel right. Ended up the person had washed their trailer out, and then opened the back doors up, and decided to sleep near a farm, I guess. And there was a big nest of cluster flies that went into the trailer overnight. And they opened up the door at Univar, and these cluster flies had burst, and there was thousands of flies in the trailer, and they're about to load pharmaceuticals in it. So like, forget about it. And this was like our first, this is that whole Murphy's Law thing, right? This is our first load.
First shipment.
And I'm like, what happened? And they're like, well, we had a clean trailer and we usually leave it at this farm. So we went and did a swap out and grabbed the trailer, and the driver said he opened the doors and didn't see anything. We closed the doors, we turned the reefer on, and they popped. And you know, the customer's like, come on, man, like, you know, the first, and I'm like, you know, and it was just one of these things. So you get so frustrated because you work so hard to bring an account in, and then things like this happen, right? And this is the reason why being a broker, your relationships with your partners are way more important than your customers. And I will fight anyone to the end of earth with that, because my image, credibility, and brand is on the shoulders of the people I choose. And there's not very many industries in the world that have that. Like, your image, credibility, and brand as a pharmaceutical company is based on the results from your pharmaceuticals. It's just what it is. You know, same thing with computers. It's the results that you say the computer is going to work X way and it works X way. There's your image, credibility, and brand being built. Sure, you know, some people might have a conversation that marketing comes into play. Absolutely. But in our industry, everything we do is based on somebody else's perception of service. And if my perception and their perception do not align, it's trouble all day long. And, you know, I could see that, Andrea. I could see that 100%. And it might be an ingrained, a subconscious fear, a fear at a subconscious level. But it is there. You know, Daman has a good point here. He says, you're right, Andrea. Hold on. Sorry. Here we go. You're right, Andrea. People let up when they feel overwhelmed of thinking about the future of how they will handle the account. It is probably fear. It probably is fear, but the ability to think of the positives is probably going to be countering with fears. And so, right, hold on. Being countered with fears, and thus causes a person to freeze 100%. And that's reality. I mean, I remember vividly having a conversation with an owner of a company and telling them, like, I'm sorry, you guys aren't ready for deals to close. And they're like, what? What are you talking about? You know, we hired you as a consultant. I said, I know. And I'm telling you. But Lisa, it's a tough conversation, because I was like, listen, your manager here is not fit for this job. I'm sorry. He's micromanaging, he's doing this, he's doing that, and they didn't want to hear it. And I ended up losing the contract. But you know what? 2.5 years later, they're still in the same position they were, and they're wondering why everybody else is growing. And it's nothing to my consulting skills. It's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say that some people don't want to see past that. And so they stay stuck, right. Like Daman says, they stay froze in the situation. And you know, then they wonder why companies that came onto the market 5 years ago are tripling them in sales.
So, I mean, I went through this too, and I've been through this setting no goals. And I always talk about when Rich and I first started our speaking business and we set no goals and how we were setting yes goals typically. And then we said, okay, let's shoot for 100 no's every month. And I always use the line, we had more business than we knew what to do with. The funny thing about that is we probably did, like thinking back, we probably didn't have more business than we knew what to do with. But to me, I was like, okay, this is enough, because still my threshold was we had to deliver everything. Yeah. And there's this certain I think there's like a comfort zone of what I'm willing to, like how much money I think is a lot, what I'm willing to make, and also what stress I'm willing to put myself under to deliver all of this. And it was kind of like, yeah, we hit that. So we exceeded our yes goal, which was awesome, by going after our no goal, but also this like idea of we had more business than we knew what to do with. Probably today, if I went back and actually looked at those numbers, I probably would go like, no, you didn't. You still had, were
that was what you were telling yourself.
That's what I was
saying. That
was the excuse.
Right.
No Pike syndrome.
No Pike syndrome. Yeah. And like Daman says, glass ceiling. Yeah. So Damon's asking a question here, which is a very good one. For anyone that didn't complete the full challenge, what would you do differently next time? So so let me, I guess I'll start. So I completed the challenge. I did the challenge every day. I even printed them on Saturdays and Sundays for my reports. And I kept track. There was a few days where at the end of the day, I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't been keeping track all day. So then I kind of review, and maybe I missed a few here and there. The only thing I didn't do was the additional course that you actually gave us in the end, which is kind of a supplement to the challenge. The big realization, and I think I've said it before, was I realized how much productivity I actually put out. For the last 21 days, I have never had a single day where I went, oh, like I feel like I've been hit by a truck. I feel like I've done so much today, but I haven't gotten any results. For me, for everyone that knows me, you'll know I'm very big on always take a step towards traction, towards your big goals, your big dreams, your big ambitions and desires. And I realized how many steps I actually taken today. So for me, this challenge opened my eyes to the awesomeness that completion of things and just taking a step does. And it actually energized me and inspired me 100 times more than even before I got into the challenge. And I was jazzed then. I'm like to the moon and back, sparks flying out my arse the second I wake up, kind of energized from listening, as soon as I started it. And it's crazy because it's like I fly out of bed now, knowing just if you just track this, for everyone watching and listening, if you just track it, it creates a perspective that I'm going to say, and I'm probably going out on a limb, you've probably never seen before. Because until you track it, you can't measure it. And how much do we really measure productivity? Like as individuals, as going through our daily routine, how much do we measure productivity? Probably very little, because we're focused on other KPIs and other things and other, but it's like, what did I do today? What are the actual actions I took today? Like this challenge helped me create, I've got 7 different sequences, over 9,000 people going through those sequences. Like just that, just because I was like, okay, well, if I heard no 4 times from 100 people, let's put 1,000. And I'm like, put 1,000 people, put 1,000 people, put 1,000 people. And I'm yes, I'm getting like, the email, is sometimes when I turn on, especially, where I am right now, I won't look at my email for an hour, and I'll go back and look, and I'll be like, holy crap, I have like 87 different emails times 4 different email accounts. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. So I sit there for, but again, it's like, okay, no, okay, perfect. Okay. Move forward. Okay. And then at the end of the day, I put my, it's like Ryan said ages ago when I asked, what keeps you up at night? He says, and Ryan, I know you're on and you're still here. And he says, Dan, nothing. And I said, really, nothing? He goes, no. He goes, I put so much effort into my day. No matter what the results are, I know I did my best. And I put my head down on my pillow at night, and I sleep peacefully. And I'm probably paraphrasing Ryan, but that was the gist of it, that it's, you do so much in a day that no matter what happens, it's like you sleep peacefully, I guess, for lack of a better term, is what Ryan was saying. Mm-hmm.
Or like we're so busy in the day and we're not pausing to recognize our efforts and kind of celebrating the wins each day. And it feels like we're not doing anything, but we definitely
But you
are.
really are.
Yeah.
It's like Valerie says, where she said, we can change this video cast to selling while on vacation podcast. Chad seems to be in at Quiz. Yes, Chad's in California. Like Andrea, all in the same office. Sorry, I got a phone call coming in.
I'm in the Maldives.
Actually,
The sun's rising here.
So what I'd like to say,
that was
Dave,
Nerfad. Sorry, that was Nerfad. Valerie said, money mindset, imposter syndrome, and uncontrolled growth are all topics business owners and sales professionals should understand.
For unimaginable growth.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
Chad, what did you want to Chad, what did you want to say?
Yes. To speak back to David. Yeah, I mean, doing this again. What I'll do is I'm going to set up. So I love games. I love challenges. That's how I get the best production out of myself. Which meant this was the perfect thing for me. And Andrea set this up real well. She had the print off. She had a worksheet. All you had to do was track. It was pretty simple. The one thing I would do differently is I would set it up. I would take more initiative and set up my targets, my goals, and really have a plan on what I'm going to execute on a daily basis, which is the thing that I did not do. Doing that would have made all the difference in the world for me, because I would have moved from a world of a wandering generality, not knowing what I'm doing on a daily basis, to I know exactly what I'll do tomorrow, what I'll do today, what I'll do the next day. That's how I'd play the game differently. Is I would take that time to set up my game, my targets, my 100%.
Chad nailed it. Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Yeah, just being more, having a little more time, being prepared, and really, for me, would be making a list of calls and really strategizing like Chad. I didn't have anybody to. I was working on deals that were already in process, so like actually going after new things was not even going on. And so yeah, just scheduling and just what Chad said. Really.
What about you, Lisa? Would you?
Yeah, so for me, I need reminders. So I would be intentional and set alarms throughout my day. Are we tracking, and am I, reviewing the day, and so definitely would have been more intentional in a process to make sure that I'm tracking and doing those things.
So here's an interesting question. We didn't really focus on this. We didn't talk about this, but there's a section of the challenge on the tracking sheet that talks about personal no's. And part of this is just getting comfortable with asking for like random weird things. Did you ever in the 21 days think like, ooh, this is an opportunity for me to just ask, like whether it was for a discount somewhere or something additional or something that you wanted that you were hoping that you could get, like any personal no's, or was that just like, and if you did that, how hard is that for you? I'm curious, like, are you a really good asker, or is that kind of a challenging thing?
What about you, it wasn't challenging.
Well, my kids tell me no all the time, so I'm so used to whatever they're going to say. No. They're 5 and 2. No. No.
So you hear no all the time.
Personally, I didn't in person, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because I love that you had the personal and the business on the tracking. I always I never purposely tried to ask a question like you're saying, personally. I wish I would have, I guess, maybe thought of that more. I did love that it was on the sheet and love to track it. But again, it's the, I guess you'd have to have just a little notebook or something around and just being more prepared. Like I love to track so extensively that I want to know, okay, I just asked that and they said no. Like, I want to know, oh, nope, I just said that and they said no. Like, I want to know, okay, really. And so like being all in would be the only way for me.
If you're looking to track it, you can. One thing that I did was I opened up a notepad in my phone, and anytime I would kind of just be in a situation where there was an opportunity for multiple no's, When I was done, I just kind of go, would I get 4 or 5 there? And I'd kind of just jot down 5. And then at the end of the day, that was the tally that I did, like when you were out somewhere and, buying monsters and saying, okay, you're going to give me a deal. And no, I'm like, okay, perfect. What about this? No. What about this one? No. And then there's that kind of whole upsell video that is always pretty cool. But yeah. So I know we're okay. So go on, guys, because I know we're running long on time here. So
are we running over?
We are. Yeah. We're at 35 right now. So
oh my goodness, I thought we were going for an hour, you guys.
No. I've got to be on. I've got another call in 7 minutes. So.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I'm just like talking like we have all day long here. Okay. Shut this thing down. Okay. Well, but there's so much to unpack. But anyway,
there is.
That's for another show. We'll do it on another show.
Yes. Now, and so, do you want me to take it? You want to? Well, thank you, Andrea. Thank you, everybody, for joining us again. We'll have to do this again. Really be all in, everybody. And Andrea, yeah, I mean, just thank you for deciding to do this last minute like you did on that show 21 days ago. It was spur of the minute. I think that was part of the issue. We crammed it a little too. I think we decided on our Friday and then let's go Monday. So I think we a little preparation next time might be key. But again, so anybody wanting to reach out to Andrea to do the next challenge, interested on doing the next challenge, it's worth it. Look, it'll get you thinking, it'll get you focused, and at least just thinking more on your production, and it does do a crazy mind shift. I promise you.
Yes.
I was wanting to hear no, and I've never really wanted to hear. I've been in sales my whole life. I didn't want to hear no. So yeah, it was crazy. But thank you again, everybody. Thank you, Chad, for joining us. Lisa, over there, 6 a.m. We're starting to see the sun. We started.
Now
it's
coming out.
It's sunny back there. So again, thank you all for joining us Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. till 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Start it right with us, Sales Chatter Live. Thank you to Daman, American Logistics, Centurion Trucking for all you guys do. To take us out, not sure who this is from, but just loved it. So when you can't control what's happening, control yourself to control the way you respond to it. That's where the power is.
Yes, that's a good one.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.